Yeah, starting at the 2-minute mark. I gotta start my watch, I forgot. It's gonna be more like 2 minutes and 2 seconds. In the meantime, I'll just let this collect. Give you a tour of my backyard for those that are watching the recording while we wait for people to show up. My backyard is very green, even in the midst of a massive heat wave. And I haven't even watered it. Hi, two people. Hi, Sandy. We're about 30 seconds in. I'll be starting in about 1.5 minutes. Thanks for all the hearts. I love the hearts. You're loving up on me. Mr. Tom. Hello, Mrs. Sandy. Got 1 minute and 15 seconds, and then I'm gonna start. I love cashew milk, Heather. I love it. I like almost any kind of nut milk. That sounds so naughty. I love nut milk, and I'm straight. Yeah. About 50 seconds. Hi, Giovanna. Nice to see you, my friend. Hey, Karen. Talk about the doctor and growing. Okay, yeah. Wow, Karen, that's right. I told you that story about the thyroids that were grown from scratch with no thyroid, and she grew thyroids. It's amazing. Hi, Mara. Starting in about 30 seconds. I made a nut milk joke just before all of you started watching, so you have to go back and watch the recording for that during our hangout time. About 15 seconds and we will get started. I don't even know what I'm going to say yet. I know what I'm talking about. I got to think of a good opener. We'll see whatever hits me. Got about 10 seconds, if that. Okay, let me clear my throat, which should be easy to do because I haven't been drinking any milk. Mara, that is very sweet. And then I'm going to start. I'm going to read that to everybody. Mara says, you are as rich and creamy and delicious as the dairy we will talk about. That's funny. I know you meant well, so I'll take it as a compliment. Hey, Bonnie. Okay, so we're about 2 minutes in. I'm going to get started. All right, so to start with, I do not say any of this to offend anybody. I don't say it to be right or to be wrong or to agree or to disagree. I'm just going to give you what I feel I have is a very keen realization of what dairy is and the industry surrounding it. And you can feel free to disagree, agree, you can feel free to vomit, you can feel free to sign off and never speak to me again, because I'm gonna tell the truth, and it's gonna be really great. Okay, so here we go. Dairy. The unforgivable lie that has been pounded into our brains our entire lives for many years is that dairy is good for you. Have a... Damn crotch rockets. Making up for something else. Anyway, the unforgivable lie is that dairy is good for us. We're told that dairy creates strong bones. We're told that dairy is going to get us vitamin D. We're told all these things. We're told that we should be feeding our children dairy because it's good for them. It's an unforgivable lie. First, I'll start with the natural logic, and then I'll get more into the science. And I'm not a scientist, but that doesn't mean I can't learn from people who are. So the logic, the very natural logic that's just so simple, I didn't know it, think of it until somebody said it to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But that is, Mother Nature, or God, designed dairy. Dairy is cow's milk. Dairy is not eggs, and it's not milk from other animals, because a lot of people don't know that. Dairy is solely milk that comes from cow. It's not anything else. So dairy, nature, God, the universe, whoever, created dairy to grow a baby cow, a calf, from 6 pounds to 600 pounds in 6 months. Their molecular structure is complete opposite of ours. It's not even close. So that's the natural logic. And if you want to get something that's much more closer to us, try goat milk. Goat milk is much closer. It's not perfect, only your mother's milk is perfect. Human breast milk is perfect for humans. All right, it makes sense. Species specific. But goat milk is pretty close. So you're much better off drinking goat milk than you are cow's milk. I'm just saying. Then of course there's plant-based milks too, which is even better, but I don't want to get into that right now. So this whole dairy scam is like, wow, what a scam. So let me start with the bone thing first. You got to drink milk because it's going to give you strong bones. Well, let me share something with you. Back in World War II, when Germany invaded Poland and all the Scandinavian countries, they stole their cows. The soldiers took the cows from all those farmers. So what happened? Those families living in those regions, they used to have bone degenerative diseases, and then it went away. When the soldiers took the cows, they lost their dairy access. They weren't getting dairy anymore. Their degenerative bone diseases all but disappeared. Pretty impressive. You know who had the bone diseases? The German soldiers. I guess that's one form of retribution for what they did. And then World War II ended. Germany was kicked back home. They said, get your ass out of here. This wasn't your land. It wasn't your cows. Give them back. So they got their cows back after World War II. And guess what also came back with the cows? The dairy consumption. Guess what came back with the dairy consumption? All those bone degenerative diseases. They came back to those people. And this is before we started pasteurization. The pasteurization of milk, it's before we started adding growth hormones. That just makes it even worse. But this is like raw organic milk. The degenerative bone diseases came back anyway. It's not for our species. Okay, so here's some of the highlights. Milk is acidic. When you put something acidic into your body, the body's #1 response to rebuff against that acidity is to pull calcium out from your bones to neutralize the acid. Honest to God truth, that's the science. That's one of those things, that's not my opinion, that's grounded in the tenets of human biology. So you can't say you disagree because it's not a matter of opinion, that is a fact. Bone density is lost, connective tissue density is lost between your joints, all those things, that's just a fact. It literally sucks the calcium out from your bones the more milk that you drink. Period. But cow's milk. I want to underscore that. So here's another highlighted problem. Do you know what your endothelial cells are and why they're important? Without them you will surely die. Your endothelial cells they line all of your blood vessels on the inside. They release a gas, I forget which gas it is, but they release a gas that helps everything move along smoothly so nothing sticks. That's important, right? So it typically takes a couple decades or so, it takes decades of constant cow's milk, dairy, to destroy those endothelial cells to the point to where they're not releasing enough of those gases and things start sticking like cholesterol. And then you get hardening of the arteries and you get atherosclerosis. And if you haven't wisened up by now and you keep going, it's imminent you're going to suffer a massive heart attack or a stroke and you will no longer be with us. They'll kill you. Your endothelial cells save your life every day. So milk destroys them. It's been proven. It's been clinically proven. Milk destroys endothelial cells. Even organic raw milk will destroy them. Doesn't matter. Just so you know. And then we have the mucus, the poisons, the toxicities that our digestive systems cannot handle. You know, if you drink raw milk, you run a very almost certain risk that you're eventually going to get some sort of bacterial infection that'll kill you. That's why they pasteurize it, to make it safe for humans, because we're not supposed to have it. That's why they pasteurize the milk, because we're not supposed to have it. And then we get to the vitamin D. The pasteurization process actually kills the vitamin D and anything else that's in it. So whatever vitamin D is in it, you're not going to get any benefit from it because it's dead. If you get raw milk, you might get the vitamin D benefit, but it's outweighed by the calcium that it's taking from your bones to neutralize the acidity effect. Pretty scary stuff, man. So let's see, what else? You want more beautiful skin? I can't tell you how many women, and men too for that matter, have had skin problems. And they stop drinking milk, they stop doing dairy altogether, and suddenly their skin clears up. Women wear less makeup because they don't have to cover up as much. Milk will clog your pores, cause outbreaks, do all kinds of nasty stuff to your skin, your hair. It'll weaken your nails and pulls calcium out of your nails too. Women that drink dairy regularly typically have weaker nails. It's true, because your insides are not healthy because the milk is killing it. That is the honest to God truth. Gosh, it is quite the subject, Tammy. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Someone said they're lactose intolerant. You know, people that are lactose intolerant, they're painted as the oddballs. Actually, that's normal to be lactose intolerant. The oddballs are people that develop, what's the word I'm looking for? People that don't have any issues, people that are not lactose intolerant, people that can handle milk and they don't feel discomforture in their gut. That's actually the abnormality. I mean, they're still doing damage to their bodies, they just don't feel it like some other people do, but the damage is still happening anyway. So being lactose intolerant is kind of a blessing, because at least you can feel that, hey, something isn't right, I'm not supposed to be consuming this product. So that's the way that is. Oh, here's something, another egregious lie that we've been told. Go with skim milk, it's healthier because it's less fattening. Okay, there's less fat in skim milk, but you know what? Because there's less fat, there's a higher concentration of casein protein found in milk that has been proven in a lab to turn on cancer growth like a light switch. It's been proven in lab rats that the casein protein in milk turns on cancer like a light switch. And you can turn off the cancer like a light switch just by removing that product from your diet. It's incredible. So when you take the fat out of milk, skim milk, the concentrations of the casein protein becomes much more dense and you're more likely to get cancer. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? You know, the American Dairy Association, they did a study in 1980 something, don't remember the year, but they actually proved that their own product, dairy, was harmful to human health. Now, they were expecting a different outcome. Otherwise, why would they do this study? But the outcome proved that, yeah, it's bad for you. You shouldn't be drinking our shit because it'll kill you. They buried that study. By law, they can't just totally get rid of it, but they can certainly bury it and make it next to impossible for anybody to find that study. And they'll never talk about it, ever. But it's out there. And then people outside of the dairy industry will call them truth seekers without any biases, like me. I'm not telling anyone to go vegan here. So I don't have any biases, except my bias is for human wellness. But the American Dairy Association and the pharmaceutical leaders of the world prioritize making money above the value of a human being. So they will lie to you in ways that kills you and your family. As long as they get your money, they don't give a shit. So you guys got to look out for yourselves, and we have to share information as we discover it and be open to it. So those are the facts. And then I haven't even touched what we've done to dairy since the 90s when we started injecting growth hormones and synthetic proteins. I mean, that's like a whole nother ball game. I mean, I'm just giving you stuff before we started doing those crazy things. So yeah, and you know, there's always that example. I've been drinking milk my whole life and I'm so healthy, I feel great, my bones are so strong. Give it time, you got youth on your side. I said it takes decades. And in this culture, we have instant gratification syndrome. We have the attention span of a goldfish, or worse, actually. A social study actually proved that as of 2015, we have the average person has less attention than a goldfish. A goldfish has an attention span of 8 seconds. Human beings now, on average, has an attention span of 7 seconds. So we're officially stupid, or we act stupid. I believe all of us are geniuses at our core, but most of us have way too big of a fucking ego to ever exercise that genius. So we're just going to be proud of the fact that we all have ADD and we have an attention span less than that of a goldfish. But going back to where I was going with that one, the person that's saying how strong they are, they drink milk every day, give it time. You might be suffering from instant gratification syndrome. Just give it time. It takes typically decades. And you will eminently experience health problems from milk. All right, so here's some forthcomingness about myself. Very forthcoming. I haven't had a glass of cow's milk in probably 4 or 5 years, something like that. I'm gonna say about 5 years now. But I do indulge in cheese every now and then. Not plant-based cheese, although I do that too, but dairy cheese. But you know what? I know full well what I'm doing. I know it's bad for me. I know damn well it's a cheat. I'm not telling myself that it's for my health, but I do it so seldomly and so in small quantities, and everything else I eat is just so dominating over whatever ill effect that would have that I'm not really worried about it. So I'm okay with that. But anytime I do have any dairy, which is in the form of cheese, if I ever did have a glass of milk again, which I don't see that ever happening, I know damn well I'm informed. I'm very informed. And sometimes to be informed, I don't say this to insult anybody, but we really have to start tapping into our free-thinking, critical thinking faculties. Otherwise, we're going to be exactly what Big Pharmaceutical and the American Dairy Association wants us to be. That is, obedient dairy consumers. Obedient. All the advertisings that they spend billions of dollars on every year, and the cover-ups they spend billions of dollars on every year, It's all part of our obedience training. I reject their obedience training. I don't want to be a part of their obedience training. I'd rather be a free-thinking, critical thinking human being. So I don't take their lies anymore. I used to, so I'm not pointing fingers. I mean, we all have that moment. Well, not all of us, but some of us have that moment where we wake up. We just wake up. And what I would like you all to do is start doing your own research, because I do not want you blindly following me any more than I blindly want you following pharmaceutical companies and the American Dairy Association. Entities that don't give a shit about you or your family. They just want your money, because they're in the business of prioritizing money above the wellness and the very life of you and your family. They don't give a shit about you, but I don't want you blindly following me any more than I blindly want you following them either. So I'm hoping that you start doing some of your own research. And after I end this live feed, I'm going to include a link in the description of this video. So check back for that, like in a couple minutes after I finish this. And you'll see a link that can possibly help you get started on your research, some stuff that I put together. So check that out and just do it for yourself and for your family. Now, when I first started discovering all these things, I was pissed, angry, blood boiling. You know, I'm still angry about it. All those years drinking milk, I thought I was doing something good. I mean, they said it was good for me. They said my bones would be healthy and all these other things. And then I find out and I see the hard science, man. The hard science. The kind that's not about opinions. The kind that's just, this is the way that it is. And I'm like, holy Jesus, they fucking lied to me. All these years, doing something I thought was good for me because I believed them and they lied. So I was very pissed, and I'm still pissed off about it. All I want to be now is a whistleblower against that nonsense and help people along their process of discovering this stuff and getting off of these poisons that they keep telling us are good for us, and they're not. Hope that makes sense to all of you. Okay, so I think, gosh, there's one or two other things I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what they were. Maybe it'll come to me. I should scroll up and read the comments now. I'm gonna scroll all the way up, lots of comments, that's cool. And maybe I'll think of stuff. Let's see here. Lots of hellos. Hi, I don't consume any dairy products. Awesome, Myra. Love that. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Milo Rising, out there from across the world. Plant-based, yay! Amber Gardner, I've definitely read that dairy isn't the way to go, but I wonder why I crave it so much. Amber, I craved milk too. Oh yeah, this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. I knew that would happen. I probably had a gallon every other day. I went through it pretty fast because I thought it was good for me and I craved it. I thought, you know, I'd like the way that it tasted and everything else. So that's about how much I was going through. And I remember back in the day when I was a dumbass, I would look people, like if somebody said they don't drink milk, I would actually lose a little bit of respect for them. I'd look at them like they were aliens, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't do milk? I mean, how can you be healthy? I mean, we've been drinking milk in this country since forever and we're doing just fine. That's a false statement in itself. But anyway, that was my mindset back then. So it's like, I understand where people are coming from, but I'm grateful that I at least have the open-mindedness and the humility at the same time, less of an ego, more humility, to criticize what I guarded and protected so feverishly. I mean, I looked at people like they were aliens if they told me they didn't drink any milk. But thank goodness I had a low enough ego, enough humility to criticize heavily beliefs that I held very close to my heart that I guarded. And most people don't have a small enough ego to do that. There's not enough humility in a lot of people. Man, I'm telling you, I've been clobbered over the head for saying such things many, many times. And they're going to supply their belief in milk like the obedient consumers that they are from the obedience training known as advertising by the FDA and the American Dairy Association and the major pharmaceutical players. Listen to YouTube perils of dairy, backing up by the same by Dr. Pepper. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, and I'll say this, Amber, and everyone else listening about the craving. I actually discovered a plant-based milk like right away when I decided to stop drinking milk, and I stopped cold turkey. I was so pissed off, I just stopped cold turkey. I'm like, fuck these guys. I'm not giving them any more of my money. They don't deserve to be rewarded for lying and destroying people's lives from the inside out. So that was a big part of my motivation to stop cold turkey. I actually just took the issue off of myself, and it's like, I'm not gonna, these people shouldn't be rewarded for lying to us and destroying hundreds of millions of people from the inside out because they're in the business of prioritizing money over human life. So I'm stopping cold turkey. I stopped dairy cold turkey. I haven't had a glass of milk in like 4 or 5 years. And I'm still pissed off about it to this day, but in a good way that has a positive outcome. But anyway, almond milk is probably my favorite plant-based milk. It made me forget all about like cow's milk. And I have not been tempted ever, which is amazing because I had a gallon of milk that I craved. Like every other day I'd go through a gallon. And when I stopped cold turkey, I had no cravings for it because of almond milk. And then there's lots of other plant-based milks too. So if you try almond and you don't like it, keep looking around. There's all kinds of different nut-based, plant-based milks, unsweetened. I never get any sugar added because that feeds cancer. It really does. Oh, by the way, here's another thing I wanted to mention. You know, in every cancer treating clinic in America, probably all of them, all the ones I've been to, and they're all the same. So you've been to one, you've been to them all, right? In the medical community. But all these chemotherapy places, the treating clinics specifically for cancer, outside the door there, they always serve milk. They always serve sugar and junk food, GMO-laden stuff. Milk feeds cancer. Sugar feeds cancer very directly. The casein protein specifically in milk and the sugar that's served outside of all cancer treating clinics in America creates an environment inside your body that cancer thrives in. How fucked up is that? Do you know why they get away with that? Do you know why they get away with that sick, unforgivable behavior? It's because there's too many people that are way too lazy about being self-educated. The average person is going to believe anything they're told by somebody wearing a doctor's coat, even if it's to their demise, even if it kills their kids. That's the average person in this country. It's sick. That is the only reason they get away with stuff like that. Just thought you should know. All right, scrolling right along to get caught up with these comments. Yes, almond milk is awesome, Vinzai. Tammy, yes, it is quite the subject. Heather, lots of health nuts like us advocate for raw milk. You have a good point with what you say about raw milk. Yeah, I don't even advocate raw milk. I think raw milk is actually going to be more dangerous because of the bacteria that's in it. I mean, the whole reason they make pasteurized milk is to get rid of the bacteria, is because we're not supposed to be drinking milk in the first place. But I talked about that earlier, so I know you heard that, so I won't get into that again. People watching the recording, you'll have to go back and watch the video. I always use cellulite when I decrease... No kidding, Milo Rising. You always lose cellulite when you decrease dairy. Hey ladies, I know that's something you're concerned about, cellulite. Get rid of dairy. We got somebody on right now that said they decreased cellulite when they decreased dairy. Dairy causes plaque in the brain. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's another thing, Alzheimer's. Okay, here's another sick, unforgivable thing about this culture. You go to any old folks home that has a food menu that is basically public policy in action, you know, from the government, standards set by our government. Any old folks home, any senior living center, there's dairy all over the menu. People with dementia in hospitals are served dairy. Seniors with Alzheimer's, you know, the gray matter in the brain that creates the Alzheimer's. What creates the gray matter in the brain? Among other things, dairy is one of the biggest contributors to the gray matter in the brain that gives people Alzheimer's. Every senior center, every old folks home with Alzheimer's, people without Alzheimer's, it doesn't even matter. They're given dairy. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day long. They're given dairy. Robbing people of their minds, of their bodies, of their spirits. I mean, this is a senior citizen with Alzheimer's is among the most vulnerable of our population. And this culture literally makes them suffer and kills them, robs them of their brain before we kill them. I mean, how sick is that? Our cancer treating clinics serve foods that feed cancer right outside the doors. And in our senior living centers, seniors that have Alzheimer's, they're fed milk, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, a very substance that creates the gray matter in the brain, which creates Alzheimer's, or perpetuates it if you've already got it. We're not a good people. I mean, certainly there's a goodness in our hearts, And a lot of people that do these things, they mean well, they just don't know. So they need to know, and people like you and me need to tell them. And it's really sad. It is so sad and so preventable. But the people that do know about these things are the people in positions of leadership, high leadership, like the top levels of leadership within the pharmaceutical players of the world, and the American Medical Association, and the American Dairy Association, and the Federal Drug and Food Administration. The leadership at those high levels know these things, but most people don't know these things, and they think they're doing good and they mean well. So I think our heart is good culturally, but by way of what we do, we are not a good people. Good people do not take cancer patients and feed them foods right outside the door, foods that turn on cancer. Good people don't take among the most vulnerable people of our population, senior citizens with Alzheimer's, and feed them milk, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the very substance that is proven to increase the gray matter which perpetuates Alzheimer's. Good people don't do those things. But our hearts are in the right place, I get that. So we need to tell people about it. And we need a shift in policy, like a 180-degree shift. And it's not going to happen as long as most of us are lazy in learning. And it's not going to happen as long as most of the people in the country have too big of an ego to criticize their own self-philosophies that they've had for years that they guard very close to them. We're not going to have those kinds of changes that we need if people are going to have an ego big enough to guard really bad philosophies that they've had their whole lives. Okay, scrolling along, they're poisoning us with food so they can give us pharmaceutical meds to treat ADD. That's absolutely right, Heather. The Flexner Report, which 1930-something, I believe, funded for it by the major banks of the world, like the Rockefellers and the JP Morgans. 1930-something, the Flexner Report. You guys can look that up. But it was discovered through the Flexner Report that pharmaceutical-grade medication was harmful to human health. And because it was harmful to human health, it created a need for more medications, which resulted in the patient being on medications their entire lives. All they saw when they heard that report was dollar signs forever, like infinite dollar signs. So that was the beginning of the end. That's when the herbologist and the chiropractor and the naturalist and the naturopathic doctor, the holistic healers and the shamans and so forth, that's when they started to become obsolete, and people in the medical profession were given this really unfair place in the industry. I mean, dominated over everything else. I mean, back before the Flexner Report, everybody was even. The naturopathics and the medical doctors were actually on the same level playing field, and they actually had referral networks to each other. Nowadays, you don't find... I'm back. Okay, I lost the signal for a second. So anyway, nowadays, medical doctors don't have referral networks with naturopathic doctors, and they're protected. And it's totally unfair, and the laws are supposed to be fair, but the laws obviously favor the medical people. And the assassinations started in the 1930s as well, because when it was discovered that by giving somebody pharmaceutical-graded medications, you can make them a patient the rest of their lives, and the cash that translated into, when that was discovered, a lot of the herbologists back then were assassinated. Chiropractors, their buildings were burned, they were shot, gunned down. All the naturopathic people, a lot of them were assassinated, killed, destroyed, silenced. And then the next round came in the 1950s, when there started to, from what I've heard, the 1950s was the next big wave. And more recently, there's been a wave in the past year or two of people that are naturopathic being assassinated, especially the ones that start to become popular because they're actually curing people of diseases that the medical community said is impossible, and they get assassinated. It's really sad. But like I said, that kind of stuff isn't going to change, and things are not going to be fair, and things are not going to be level playing field until we, the American people, have a small enough collective ego to criticize our dumb philosophies and become more self-taught and share good information with each other. But our egos are too big for that now, collectively. Let's see here, what else is out there? Someone told me a few years ago that their bone density scan showed some deterioration of her bones, and she was puzzled because she drinks lots of milk and takes calcium supplements. Yeah, it takes a long time, but I mean, it will catch up. People that have youth on I think they're fine drinking milk, but it goes back to the attention span problem and instant gratification syndrome, and the problem of not being self-educated but just believing what anybody in a doctor's coat would tell you. It's really sad. Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Things Tom didn't know about the calcium sucking from milk. I haven't drank milk in 4 years. All right, 4 years and counting. And like yourself, I have some cheese every once in a while. Yeah, I hear you. I can't support that industry. Not only is it bad for humans, but it's bad for cows. Yeah, it sure is. I mean, well, not all cows are treated the same, just so we understand that. Most farms, especially the factory ones, just outright abuse them and torture them. And there's some farmers, some local, but not all, like the smaller farmers, some of them treat their animals very humanely, in my opinion. I don't know anything about Fairlife, Amanda, but if you want to send me something about it, I'd be interested to look at it. They're finding out inflammation is the basis of Alzheimer's. Yeah, I bet. I mean, there's a lot that we don't understand about Alzheimer's, but I'm sure inflammation plays a role in that. Like, inflammation plays a role in everything that is bad, right? I mean, find an unhealthy person, whatever the ailment is, and there's inflammation there, as far as I know. And we certainly know enough to know that the ingredients in milk creates gray matter, which creates Alzheimer's. I want to die in a humane way also, Mila Rising. Yes, I do. Jen. Oops, I said your name. That's a common name. Nobody will narrow you out. Heather, it makes me so sad when I see a page on Facebook for a kid fighting cancer and they have a picture of a kid eating a popsicle or something. I'm not judging, it just makes me upset that no one is ED, no one is Seymour, no one is educated, and a living parent unintentionally and unknowingly is giving their child something that is not helping their situation. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Most of us that are doing these things, we mean well, our heart is in the right place, but we will just believe anything that the doctor wearing a doctor's coat will tell us. We have to be for self-education and sharing information with each other, and self-diagnosing, self-healing, and all those, and include doctors as part of our team for sure. But I mean, we have to take it upon ourselves to be self-educated. And man, I'm not a parent, but if I had kids, oh, you better believe it, man. If I'm going to be so self-educated for myself, I'm going to be 10 times more self-educated for my kids, because they're vulnerable to their caretakers. They're absolutely, especially the really young ones, they're vulnerable to us. Fairlife milk. A couple people are asking. I don't know what Fairlife milk is. If somebody wants to shoot me a link, I'll look at it. If it's dairy milk, then, I mean, I'll give you my answer right now. It's poisonous. Go back and rewatch the video recording when I put it up there for all the reasons why. I'm not going to get into that again right now. If it's, yeah, anything dairy based, it's not going to be healthy, just so you know. Up to 40 holistic doctors in the last 22 months have been assassinated. Jen, there's probably even more than that, but man, that's, wow. You're welcome, Sarah. Mila Rising, yeah, right, 40 doctors killed. I can't believe that either. That's amazing. Oh, you're back from Bali now. Cool. Welcome back. I will be in your neck of the woods, Jen, second week of August. Okay, cool. I am all caught up in the comments now, and to everybody who's just signed in, say within the past few minutes or a few minutes beyond that, when I get this finished and I put it up on my Facebook timeline, which will be like 5 or 10 seconds after this finishes, because Facebook is like lightning quick, then you'll be able to go back and watch this. And I recommend that you do. I feel very good about this recording. I got so much great info out, and it was entertaining because I was kind of animated about it, so you won't be bored. Pretty cool, eh? Sarah, I don't know if we can talk tonight. I don't know. You can message me. Hi, Candy. Candace. Hi, Valerie. So that was a lot of comments. I appreciate it. I'm glad I made it through it all. So now that I'm all caught up, if anybody has anything else they want to comment on, or if there's something else you want me to expand upon, or you have a question, go for it. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding, like I'm very keenly aware of it. And I'm sure there's still much more to learn about it too, but gosh, feel free to comment anything you want. And almost everything I shared in this video isn't even my opinion. It's not even a matter of right or wrong or agreeing or disagreeing. It's hard factual science about dairy. And then of course I added my opinion about how horrible it is. And I went into way more than just talking about dairy too. I talked about the industry lies, the unforgivable lies that we've been told for many, many years now, and what's behind all of that. You know, the pharmaceutical industry profits just in this area about $1.5 trillion a year. That's a lot of money they stand to lose if people knew the truth about dairy. I mean, they're willing to kill and assassinate people who are whistleblowers to protect that $1.5 trillion of profits, because they are in the business of prioritizing money over the life and the value of a human being. How to help with depression. Yes, Sarah, have an amazing orgasm. You'll feel better, at least temporarily. But it might buy you some time to start thinking of other things that might bring you some more long-lasting happiness. I hope that helps. I hope that got some laughs from everybody. I love cashew milk, Valerie. Hey Valerie, it's nice to see you. I was just out in Colorado. Gosh, it's actually been about 1.5 months now. I didn't really see too many people this last trip, but I saw my birth parents, I saw Jim, saw Debbie. Boys and girls, this was a really fun video for me to make, and I'm kind of surprised there were no hate comments, because usually when I'm talking about the truth about dairy, I always get somebody that's just gonna beat up on me, beat up on the message, and it didn't happen. It's kind of neat. Tammy, they are doing amazing things with dairy-free ice cream now. We'll just call it vegan ice cream, because obviously there's not going to be meat in ice cream. That would be kind of gross, but they are doing amazing things with dairy-free ice cream, and I'm finding it more and more in the grocery stores. So do some looking around. Just gotta watch the sugar content, that's all. But at least it's dairy-free. Yeah, Mila Rising, I just have a crowd of dairy haters, so that's pretty cool. It's not that I hate dairy, it's just I'm pro-dairy for calves. I'm anti-dairy for humans. I'm glad the knowledge is helping you, Tammy. That's so awesome. Wendy, you're very, very welcome. Yeah, Tammy, go ahead, look it up. Just like I said, watch the sugar content in the vegan ice cream, but at least you can get it dairy-free, and they're doing some amazing things with dairy-free ice cream nowadays. It's pretty cool. I just Carolyn, hey. It was awesome to talk to you last night, my friend. It's good to see you on this thing now. Gosh, I just had another thought. I can't remember what it was. Horrible, only dairy haters, cool people, but this knowledge helps. Join, thank you. I totally need to buy it. Well, when you do buy it, Tammy, let me know which one you buy, and let me know how you like it. Eating a little, but I would... What are you talking about, Mila? Still eating a little, but I would rather not be... Are you talking about ice cream or dairy? Or I guess dairy in the form of milk or cheese or ice cream or something. Carolyn, it's going pretty well. I was hoping something more clever would come to my brain on the spot, but it didn't. So I froze and paused and then said, well, and that was that. Dairy. I know, Mila, I do a little dairy too. But you know, at least people like you and me, when we do it, we know damn well we're cheating and it ain't good for us. And at least people like me and you are eating so many other foods that dominate whatever ill effect a little bit of dairy has on us. Really, Carolyn? Well, welcome to my live feed. And by the way, when I end this, we're just kind of hanging out now, commenting back and forth, but when I end this, it'll be on my timeline like 5 or 10 seconds after I end it, and then you'll be able to watch the recording. And I think you should. You'll dig it. I know you will, Carolyn. All of you will. All of you will dig it. So you should go back and watch the recording. I'm also going to include a link to a page I made about dairy to help you start your own research about dairy. And it's riveting. It's not boring by any means. It's riveting. So it'll be like maybe a couple minutes after you see this posted on my timeline. I'll have it edited by then, I'm sure. If you want a good dairy sugar-free recipe, freeze some unsweetened cashew milk in an ice tray after frozen. Put the cashew cubes in a blender along with crunchy peanut butter and vanilla and whip it up. It's tasty. Heather, that does sound kind of good. A nice little treat. A dairy-free treat. Even better. Hi, Juliet. Welcome. Say something about pus and milk. I did earlier. I don't want to go back into that for everyone that was here, but you can go back and listen to the recording. Hey, everybody, there's pus in milk. It's horrible for your skin. It'll clog it up. Quit dairy, your skin gets better. And hair and nails. I love these live feeds too. I like being able to interact. Like, I love doing videos, and I still do them once in a while because those are useful too, but having this added dynamic of being able to interact with you is so much fun. Let's see here. I just don't like that it's so crazy dominating with meat and other crazy crap. Yeah, it's fun, Tammy. Thanks, Heather. Oops, Tammy. Gross. Gross. It is gross. Imagine all that pus coming to the surface of your skin, and you got these pimples and these breakouts, and women are wearing way more makeup than they have to because, like, I know, girls, a lot of the makeup you put on is to cover up blemishes. Get rid of dairy, and a lot of your blemishes are probably going to go away, and then less makeup or no makeup. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that kind of feedback from my female friends and some of my male friends about how giving up dairy has done amazing things for their skin. And think about it. Look beyond what the eyes can see. If it's doing amazing things for your skin, then what is giving up dairy doing for your internal organs and your blood? Carolyn, you're funny. I haven't experimented, actually, ever. I've never even attempted making my own vegan ice cream. But I have had others, like friends of mine, who have made different ice creams out of avocados, like chocolate fudge out of avocado, and it's vegan, and cacao nibs, and some other things. Apparently you can do some really amazing things with avocado, with imitation chocolate fudge and ice cream, and frozen bananas too with ice cream. And I've had some friends, some fellow Shakeology drinkers of mine, they'll take the chocolate Shakeology formula and they'll make different chocolate balls, chocolate fudgesicles, and different ice creams out of the chocolate Shakeology. Maybe I'll include a link to the Shakeology in the description as well. And in the spirit of full disclosure, I sell Shakeology, so if you were to buy it from my link, I would earn a commission. And I've been drinking it every day for years, and my parents. Welcome, Angie, and welcome everybody. Someone's name I can't pronounce. Welcome. Thanks, Carolyn. I'm actually going to end this in a minute because it's a pretty good hangout, and I think it's running its course right now. I appreciate everybody being on here very much. If you appreciate these kinds of raw messages where I don't talk to be a populist, but I like speaking the truth and letting my connections that I make with people be completely organic and unforced and totally natural. If you dig that sort of thing, probably the shit out of my website. It's fireyourboss.xyz, not .com. That's different. It's fireyourboss.xyz. I also have a website called passionfitness.info, which might be more relevant to the topic matter of this live feed. And that's neither a .com nor a .xyz. It's a .info. Passionfitness.info as in information. I've also got healthy recipes there. I've got a vegan cooking channel with 80 some odd videos so far that I've made, mostly with other people that are smarter than I am about vegan cooking. Lots of resources. I think you'll dig them if you dig this one. And I'll be making more videos very soon because I can't help myself. I kind of like it and stuff. I'm also going to be doing some traveling so you guys know what's coming up. I'm going to be going to Hollyweird, California. I'm going to be going to Nashville, Tennessee here first, actually, and then I'm going to Hollyweird, California to visit my friend Lisa, and we're going to be doing some awesome business stuff. But not the business stuff that's boring as fuck, but like exciting business stuff that I can't help myself from doing. And then from there I'm going to Las Vegas, Nevada, and then eventually coming back home. And when I'm at each of these places, I'm going to be paying attention. I'm going to be learning some cool shit, stuff that I'm going to teach and stuff that I'm going to share with you guys. And all my videos that I create on this trip are going to have some kind of call to action at the end of them. Like, you're going to get amazing value from these videos, and then some kind of call to action to look at something or who knows what. I don't know, we'll see. I have no idea yet. It's unscripted, so how could I know, because it's not scripted. So look forward to all of that. And on my Facebook, you can actually click, there's a button on there, forget where it's at, somewhere over my cover photo. You can click on notifications, yeah, that's it, notifications, and select all notifications or all updates or whatever it says. And that way you won't miss anything, because I'm going to be sharing some cool stuff, man. And that's all I got to say on this live feed. Thanks everybody for showing up. Please feel free to share this and like it and love up on it. I love that Facebook has a love button now, so love up on it. Rub up on it. Maybe their next button will be a button that says rub, and you could like rub up on a post that you like a lot. I don't know. And keep commenting. Even in the recorded version we can interact still. So bye for now. Take care. And remember, say no to dairy. And friends, don't let friends drink dairy. No, I'm just kidding. Don't be a Nazi about it. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.